Yeah, the Baron first pick is definitely an option, but we've seen a lot of teams actually shy away from the Baron first pick on A side, just because it is going to be answered almost certainly with an Idris immediately after. And SaltyPotetoes, they're putting a lot of thought into this one. Obviously, they know the Baron is strong, but they're going to go ahead and secure themselves the Black Feather, which has been so crucial for them in their wins.
Yeah, I feel like the Black Feather pick has been the linchpin for SaltyPotetoes. It's something that both Sneaky and Joker are very proficient on. It's a flex for them, but also it kind of denies the Baron pick from your opponent to some extent, because it is very good. Obviously, SK not feeling too intimidated by the pick, though.
Yeah, they're just going to go ahead, grab themselves the Baron, ban away the Idris, so now it's not going to be the Black Feather Idris chance for SaltyPotetoes. The Kestrel is still going to be available. I would assume SK is going to let that one go through. Yeah. They're not going to... I would be stunned if they do decide to run a Baron Kestrel. But the Batiste banned away by SaltyPotetoes because they're very likely looking for that Kestrel.
Yeah, I was going to say that they need to ban Batiste because SK's Raph is amazing on Captain Batiste. And it's just such a good pick on B side with Baron to counter like assassins, etc., protect Baron from a melee perspective. So Batiste was a very smart ban. I think SK here will potentially pick up either Arden or Catherine because they can then save that last jungle counter pick.
Yeah, for sure. And we could even see that Baron Sky composition that we've been seeing as of late. Arden is going to be the lock-in. I mean, Arden or Catherine, you know Raph is going to do a sick job protecting his carries there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arden is incredibly talented. Raph is on the Arden. So the gauntlets are almost always in beautiful positions. It can force out either the reflex blocks or abilities, in the case of Black Feather, force him to have to use that Rose Offensive if he wants to be involved.
Yeah, and a Vanguard on Baron is going to protect him and keep melee off him, but Black Feather can close the gap of Rose Offensive. So I think here they need to pick a heavy dive composition. So potentially, if they want to, Taka would be good into this, because Taka and Black Feather can both dive onto Baron and blow him up and force Baron to buy defense. I'm surprised a lot of teams aren't playing Taka into Baron. But let's see what they're going to decide. Maybe they're going to CP Black Feather, which most likely will be the case. If that's the case, then they need to go with like a Glaive lane, weapon power hero, for example. They could try Gwen, but the way that Gwen has been played in EU, I'm not a big fan of it. And I don't think Kestrel would work. So Catherine is going to be picked up here, which is good because you can land Silence, Echo, and a no wave will be really tough. So let's see what weapon power lane they're going to go with. Glaive would be great here because of the stuns.
Vox has also made it all the way through the draft.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Vox.
It's not something that we see make it through the draft that often. Scarf looks the pick, though, which means it's likely Sneaky on that Black Feather. Sky instantly locked in from SK.
Yeah, Sky Baron has been so well into these compositions that have to go aggressive. The Catherine and Black Feather can dive in, but then they can immediately reposition themselves further back and prevent the Scarf from being able to be involved in the fight, because his allies are going to get too far ahead of him, and it's a serious risk for the side of SaltyPotetoes of if they go in full and engage and Scarf isn't able to keep up with them.
Yeah, we'll see how this one's going to pan out, but it's definitely a much more late-game composition from SK. It's not this same hyper-aggressive early composition we saw in Game 1. Do you feel like that lends to SaltyPotetoes' playstyle a little bit better?
A little bit, but SK has a better late-game comp. I mean, Sky is good into Catherine and a weapon Black Feather. Arden can block the Scarf skill shots, and Baron will blow up Scarf, because Scarf can't build that much defense, needs more offense. So I've pretty sure SK got this game.
Not only that, but early game, before Black Feather has his Rose Offensive, a Sky rotating up from the jungle, landing a forward barrage with Baron jump jets forward and hitting that double rocket can blow up a Black Feather before he has the ability to just Rose Offensive out of trouble.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that SK even still will be able to take the early game and snowball themselves.
All right, well, we'll see. SK definitely the favorites coming on into this one. I don't think anyone's surprised to hear me say those words, but it's time to find out if they can live up to their name and get themselves a win on the board. Hashtag Vainglory 8. Let us know whether you believe in the SK victory here or whether you think SaltyPotetoes are going to push this further. It's time to jump into the second game of our final between SaltyPotetoes and SK Gaming.
Sneaky on his signature hero of Black Feather, always a treat to see him bring it to the Halcyon Fold. But against the Baron, Sky, and Arden, it's a tough composition to face into. SK once more with a fabulous draft.
Yeah, I really like the draft coming out of SK here, Dalsy. I feel like they have so much raw power packed onto their team. They're going to have good odds just based on that. I think the Arden is great glue. You know, yeah, that's one thing SK does really nicely. Their captain picks are always great at facilitating what the carries need and want to accomplish. I feel like they're one of the teams who picks their captains the best. On the other side, though, I mean, SaltyPotetoes very linearly are going to be, you know, stronger and stronger every minute of the game. So if they can get late enough, I do think they're in a good position. I do think Scarf can be pretty effective. Kvalifar, he's playing the lane Baron, not unlike a North American Baron laner. You know, he's playing pretty loose with his jump jets already. I like it. I like it, Kvalifar. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, it's always great to see when people play the Baron very aggressively, understanding those jump jets can just provide so much damage output. And you have them up so often if you're continuously using your auto attacks to reset the cooldown and reduce it. Niki here, kind of known for his Black Feather, but especially his Black Feather is unique. He prioritizes a lot of defensive stats over offensive stats, often finishing both defensive items before he finishes his third offensive. So really just likes to prioritize being able to take a lot of damage and really be that front line for his team. And actually that can work out really well, especially if Joker's untouched on the back line and is able to kind of just play from range. That's something that SaltyPotetoes need in a Black Feather.
I'm pretty interested to see how the jungle pans out this game, Dalsy, because I think on paper, both of these captains are good enough at just interrupting fights that neither team really wants to be the initiator, and both are probably going to play pretty safely, focus mostly on farming, trying to hit a mid-game spike earlier than their opponents, rather than disrupting the progression of their opponents, because I think that's the safer plan, at the very least. Like, if you try and engage onto Skye and Arden, you know, even if you're moving in with the speed boost from Merciless Pursuit, there's a good chance that with the Vanguard and a Forward Barrage, you're going to take a lot of damage and not even land your stun. By the same token, if you try and initiate with Surrey Strike and in Vanguard to dive onto the back line of the jungle duo of SaltyPotetoes, you're just going to get stunned up and then turned and burned on by a Scarf Goop. So neither team has the engage they need, but both teams have the disengage and kite that they need, and therefore I don't think they fight. If they do fight, it's going to be messy, and it's going to be around an objective like this. Pretty easily picked up by Joker, because Tyrus burned all of his abilities kind of early. Doesn't have burst either.
Let's face check the bush, though. Class moves in with a Merciless Pursuit. Tyrus is in a position where he can kind of just dance around, but Raph doesn't provide as much offensive statistics in this fight, which is an issue. And good positioning from Joker means that Forward Barrage won't find any effectivity. Joker wanting to find a Spitfire group combination. That's going to be a stun, though, onto Raph. They're looking for first blood, but it goes the way of Tyrus. Looking for a second as well. This guy is crazy good. And obviously wanting to maintain one of his positions as the best junglers in EU.
I mean, that was pretty messy as I expected it to be, but what I didn't expect was that the focus would be onto Raph. Sure, he's low, maybe you get a kill, but you've got to know that Tyrus is going to turn on you and find return kills, especially because in the early game, Forward Barrage ticks of damage do not reflect off of Stormguard until you have actually a lot of crystal power. So you're kind of... that ability almost doesn't do anything in that exchange, which basically means you're at a big deficit. Yeah, I can't say that SaltyPotetoes made a decision I agree with there, but well capitalized on by SK. They did play very in and out of the edge of the fight, trying to keep SaltyPotato interested, make them think they have some kind of advantage, which they certainly did not have. Off the back of that, Tyrus got both kills, so he has already picked up Frostburn and has more crystal bits on top. It's very scary going up against a Skye with lots of early crystal power.
Yeah, it really is. He's already got the Frostburn before 5 minutes, and the damage he can now output is pretty insane. Death from above won't quite find Classed here. He's going to be able to walk away. Joker, though, in a bit of trouble. And look at that slow, look at the Forward Barrage. Joker just trying to walk around it. They're splitting their focus a little bit here, SK, looking for a single kill. Not going to find anything. Classed has not finished his fountain either, so Raph was very happy to just escort Tyrus wherever he wanted to with that kill, and there wasn't really anything that SaltyPotetoes could do about it.
This is scary because it reminds me a lot of the game we saw with Scarf earlier where things got out of control kind of quickly and he was a non-factor. If we continue to see heavy pressure from SK, that could happen again. No doubt about it. Although, Catherine might be able to help defend. We'll have to see. Tyrus, I really like the discipline he's showing. He's such a measured player, He could have dived with Surrey Strike onto Joker in the previous fight, but A, it would have been near the Crystal Sentry, and that would have been risky. And B, Sneaky had just recalled, and therefore could have been on his way. Oh, nice. Sneaky actually gets the tree in there. But yeah, it was a smart decision, I think, to split focus and just force both Clast and Joker back, rather than maybe getting a kill, but maybe trade.
Yeah, this is a tough road for SaltyPotetoes. I think it was probably clear that they were going to be playing from a deficit in this game. And something that, I think I've been a little bit scared about for SaltyPotetoes is, can they play well enough from a deficit here? Look at SK just putting the pressure onto the Joker. That Iron Cannon, ooh, it's going to take down Sneaky. I was looking at Joker. Sneaky, I think, was expecting it to come down on Joker's head as well, and he just got taken on down. SK putting the damage down onto this turret and making it count here, AJ. Continuously pushing their advantages.
Yeah, they got pretty decent turret pushing as well. Clast kind of needs to go and stun Kavalifar or something to get him out of this one as safely as possible, although SK, they're going to play it safe too and actually back away here. I think that, yes, your point is well made about the fact that we're expecting SaltyPotetoes to play from a deficit here, and it's also well made that, you wonder how they're going to do from that position. If you look at the third place matches, they had 2 flawless games and 1 game where they almost, had a flawless game against them. We've not seen them necessarily play very well from a deficit. So picking a composition that you know is not going to excel early and put pressure on your opponents is a statement from SaltyPotetoes to say, we have confidence in ourselves to make this work. But it's also risky because, well, I mean, a lot of people doesn't necessarily even think that maybe they have the capability of playing from the deficit there very effectively.
This is also just the Joker falling further and further behind as this game goes on. He's only just finished his Frostburn, had to prioritize some defensive stats here, try and deal with the harass that Tyrus is outputting. This is a huge minion candied wave. That's a gauntlet being issued. Class going to be stuck in the middle of it. Pops the fountain, runs around, but he can't escape, and that's another kill going over to Kavalifar. Raph is burning, but he's safe. He has the fountain still, AJ. Just playing and waiting for his life spring to kick on in so he can heal up. SK going to take this turret here. Sneaky may want to try and find an execute. Jumping on to Kavalifar. It's not a bad shout either. Can he get the kill is the question. One more on point may just get it. Oh, the fountain comes out. The on point misses, but he gets the execute nonetheless. And he's going to be able to save the turret through that 1-for-1 trade.
That's a pretty decent deal. You trade 1-for-1 and you save your turret. I think he's probably pretty fine with that. Plus, he got the gold from shutting down Kavalifar a little bit, stopped him from farming up, slowed him down. I like it. I like that play. I think it was effective. But ultimately, it's a very small bandage on a massive wound. Because right now, SK are definitely doing a lot of damage to SaltyPotetoes. SaltyPotetoes really need Joker to hit a second item, and he is so far away from that, even with the 1,000 in the bank. Unless he goes for an Eve, which is a bit cheaper, which I don't think would be the best call. I think he needs Broken Myth.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's going to go down towards the Eve just for sustain.
Ooh.
Sneaky taking so much damage here. He has the Code of Plates, but it's just not enough at this point. Kavalifar has the Tension Bow and is looking for a Tornado Trigger. Through the shield, they take that turret down. Big minion wave will be eaten up here by Joke, who's just trying his best to catch up on some gold. 5-1, a 2,000 gold lead. Could become 3 if SK decide to commit to this gold miner. Dragging it out, which means that SaltyPotetoes know that it has been initiated, but it could also just be a bait. Death from above going to split. SaltyPotetoes try and find the kill. Kavalifar just dives forward and takes down the Joker. Sneaky may be able to get a return kill. No, Kavalifar with a double and a triple. The ace for him. They're going to get a gold miner for themselves and start doing some work to this tier 2 turret as well.
Who wore it better, Kavalifar with the weapon infusion or Joker with the crystal one? I think Kavalifar wore it significantly better. That was some hot stuff. Okay, so I was about to talk about the infusions, and I want to re-talk about it now after that fight. I think it's set up for what we saw. Joker bought an infusion, which signals two things to me. A, he thinks that he might want to fight soon. And B, he thinks that with an infusion he can. Right? Both of those assertions are bad news, because you do not want to fight soon. Definitely not. The turret was already basically dead. There's no Kraken on the map. There's no reason to fight soon. And B, getting an infusion on just a Frostburn is not really going to do much for you, right? Whereas Kvalifar's infusion, as I said, he wore it a lot better. So I feel like there is some kind of disconnect, and you can see it from the purchase in where SaltyPotetoes thinks they are and where they actually are. You know, they think they can fight with just a little extra oomph, but they can't. They definitely can't. And, you know, giving away that ace, really bad news. SK, they're feeling really good off the back of that one. It's starting to get pretty scary. Kvalifar audaciously jumping on top of Sneaky and Joker, not really worrying about it. SaltyPotetoes needs a bit of a miracle here, I think.
Yeah, no, Kvalifar dives forward. Look at the damage onto all three members because it splashes. Not wanting to be grouped up, stacked up. Joker's in trouble. Class gonna lose his life. A kill over to Tyra's. SK have comfortably AJ 2-0'd every opponent this week. And if Gauntlet from Raph may not find a stun onto Sneaky or Joker, but Kvalifar is just feeling so confident. Jumps over the wall! I've only seen Druid make plays like this. Kvalifar wanting to just show that he has upped his game.
Oh, man.
Incredible stuff, as that's another kill going over towards SK. The choke point turret, 12 minutes, it's being pressured. Classed loses his life. Another to Kvalifar. There's the ace, the minions in the base. Have they got the candy? No, they don't. But Kvalifar says, I don't care. I will push for the win. And chunks down that turret. SK may be overstaying here. I say that, though.
Nah,
does look like they will be able to walk away.
I think SK could have won that fight. Wow. SK, they're moving from strength to strength, Dalsy. I mean, every game we've seen them play, they've looked more convincing than the last. I really think that this is them saying, all right, you know, we're at the end of the season, basically. We got to start thinking about the championship. We're probably going to make it, so let's make it in style. Let's really practice up, be the best team we can be ahead of time. And they're putting in the hours, you can tell. You know, they're adapting things from other regions. They are playing very strategically well. Their draft is on point. Their mechanics look great. This is a team to watch, not just, you know, heading into the final week, perhaps, of the Vainglory 8 for summer, but also, I think, heading into the championship.
You know, SK, when they switched out jetpacks for Raph, I think there was a lot of questions about it, but Raph has just stepped up for the team. SK just look entirely renewed, classed. Cannot escape. Joker with the Dragon's Breath. It may do some damage. Can Sneaky find the kill into Kvalifar? Yes, he can. Okay. This is a start for SaltyPotetoes. Another kill goes their way, but it's going to be Tyra's cleaning up the 1v1, the Joker matchup, the jungle matchup, and the Joker losing it to Tyra's. A triple kill for his Sky, an ace for him as well. Nothing much to get, but yet another win for SK.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was a little bit closer for SaltyPotetoes. You got to question the positioning there from the side of SK. They're fighting in a choke point into a Dragon's Breath, into a 14-minute Scarf. Like, it's going to be scary no matter what, but they still make it happen. Tyrus in that 1v1 with Scarf, I mean, you could see the additional item pretty clearly through the fight. There was not much hope for Scarf there. SK, with half a minute until Kraken spawns, I'm sure have their eyes on that, as well as the prize at the end here, the W. I don't see SaltyPotetoes, again, coming back without kind of a miracle, but things like that can be as small, like miracles can be small. You know, they can be as simple as your opponent's fighting in choke point and ignoring Joker for too long after he picks up a third item. That would be a miracle. That would work, potentially, for SaltyPotetoes.
Miracles is probably the most clear-cut way that SaltyPotetoes get back into this game. And by miracle, it's SK mispositioning. It was Kvalifar mispositioning that allowed them to take the last fight. But that is just so reliant on an SK making mistakes, and now the Kraken has spawned. You have to think, whatever fun they've been having, AJ, and it certainly does look like they're having fun today, is it's about to become a little bit more serious. Time to win this game. SK gonna wisen up here. SaltyPotetoes pushing fourth here, but can they afford to do so? Cavalifar just laying down auto attack after auto attack. The gauntlet won't quite catch them. Joker able to block it. Silence does go down. It's a double coming out of Class. The Dragon's Breath burning through. SaltyPotetoes moving forward, but can they get anything else? Cavalifar safe on the back line, has his jump jets ready to go. Class looking for a stun, is able to land it. Oh, the Spitfire connects! And Joker now looking to try and find Tyrus as well. A serious strike to reposition, dodges out, but Sneaky jumps forward, and Tyrus will go down. It's a miracle on the Halcyon Fold! An ace for the SaltyPotetoes, and they're going to look for a Kraken.
They've got to start getting onto the carries. What is going on, Dalcy? I feel like SK are losing their minds a little bit here, or maybe I am. You know, they're not focusing targets that actually matter. They're doing so much work on a Class on the front line. They've got tools to get past him. We've seen before how much damage they do. If you Surrey strike onto the back line and jump jets and Vanguard, you're gonna blow someone up, so long as it's not classed. So stop focusing classed. SaltyPotetoes should not be in this game right now, but they have a new lease on life. The Kraken is pushing in their favor. What can they accomplish here is the question. I think they're probably going to get like 2 turrets. It's pretty hard for SK to deal with this push if they want to, you know, deal with the Kraken at the same time. Maybe they'll just go in and aggress on the SaltyPotetoes. I wouldn't mind that play either.
The Joker takes so much damage from Cavalifar right now. Class taking up, allowing for this Broken Myth to stack up. Class is just dead here. Simply put, dead. Kraken will find the first turret, AJ. Can it find any more? Doesn't look likely. That's a bit of gold going over to SaltyPotetoes, but it's going to be even more going over back to SK, who are pretty much done as far as weapon builds are concerned, but obviously need to start getting some defensives for Tyra as a reflex block and all that. He's going to get it now. He just finished for Sneaky. He's got a Shiver Steel as well, so 2 damage items on this Black Feather. I feel like he needs a breaking point at some point this game. He's still that Shiver Steel for a breaking point, but perhaps Sneaky can make it work. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I think Joker is kind of the main damage source by such a large margin that it might not even matter in a lot of these fights. That being said, as more and more shield gets picked up by SK, maybe that'll change. For now, though, I think he's doing respectable damage. SK, they need to be a little more decisive. They need to be, you know, jumping onto the back line, killing carries. On the side of SaltyPotetoes, though, I guess just keep doing what you're doing, like trying to fight in the jungle and choke points, positions you can kite back into. I like what SK is doing. They're forcing them into the lane by flanking and then pushing forward and threatening to just end the game.
Good block. And that second silence doesn't actually connect. The blast tremor wasn't in range. SK have forced a rotation here, and the ultimates from Class have been used already. Sneaky moving forward. That's going to be Class stunning up Raph. Here's the Dragon's Breath coming out, and Sneaky just trying to put the pressure onto Salty, onto SK. Cavalifar, a lot of damage, but Sneaky very low. Going to get the fountain. They've taken down Cavalifar once more, and Sneaky's running away with it. Raph dives forward with the blood for blood, gets one. Tyrus finds another. It's only Joker left alive here. 9 broken myth stacks on this guy, and Joker, he doesn't have a broken myth, so he can't stack up. He is just running for his life, but he's in vision right now. They know exactly where he is. The Joker knows he's done for, trying to find a kill onto Raph, but he cannot do so. Puts the goop down, but it is the ace for SK once more. Holy, this game from SK. They are looking to finish it right now. SaltyPotetoes put up a grand defense. One possibly better than I expected, but they're going to...
Can they defend this? With Sneaky
5 seconds? Yeah, okay. It's only going to be 1 turret. Look at Tyrant's positioning.
Yeah,
they're not going to risk it.
I like that. I don't think risking it makes sense. You put up 2 O's all weekend. Let's keep doing it, right? That's what I want to see. I have to admit, that last fight, whilst close, was definitely much better from SK. They were focusing better targets. They were able to actually create more space between them and Joker on the Scarf. Tyrus was not the main focus, which was actually a really big deal, because if Cavalifar goes down early, but does a lot of burst up front, it's kind of an equitable trade, so long as Tyrus is going to be able to be effective over the course of the longer-term fight, which he definitely was in that previous one. Right now, though, SK need to be careful not to get baited into fighting into the jungle. Big part of the reason why they were successful last time is they did force SaltyPotetoes to move into their court up in the lane. Look at Sneaky with the flank.
Yeah, looking for the flank. Here comes Joker as well with the Dragon's Breath straight into the gauntlet. And Sneaky looking for Tyras as well. Kavalafa very safe. Sneaky has to escape. Class moves forward. He is just going to frontline for SaltyPotetoes, but SK not interested in that fight anymore. Echo and the Blast Tremors still available here for Class. The Kraken, she's respawned as well, AJ. 21 minutes! SaltyPotetoes still putting up fight. Still possible for them to win team fights here and take another Kraken.
Honestly, getting that ace earlier on bought them enough gold to be competitive in these fights. It's been a huge deal. I love Joker's itemization since gone quite defensive. I think he needs to. It's making... I think it's what's giving SK pause about jumping onto him on the backline. Sneaky, again, this is another reason why you can't fight in the jungle. What we saw there was him with the flank so that he only had to walk to the fight and then he could chase the fight with all of his gap closers rather than initiating the fight with the gap closer. There's a lot of things about fighting in the jungle that are just great for SaltyPotetoes. I think SK needs to be very careful not to get lured in here. It's a bit of a honey trap when you see Joker split from Sneaky like this, but it's a bad idea to try and get in that.
Yeah, Class looks for an engage, but can't quite find it. Class! He's gonna go down! There's the Blast Tremor coming out, but Tyra's able to find the kill. Joker in the midst of it all, and he will fall as well! It's only Sneaky left alive, and he's inside the gauntlet. It's a double, it's an ace, it's all over for SaltyPotetoes! Another 2-0 for SK here, AJ, and they have just taken Europe by storm. Incredible performance from them all around. A team performance as well. So hard to pinpoint a single player, they're all just playing so well.
They really are. There were some dicey moments this game for sure, but they recovered from the mistakes, I think, pretty nicely. SaltyPotetoes also showed some glimmers of genius. You know, they were forcing SK to think about fighting them in places that they didn't want to, but ultimately SK just had too much of a lead. I'm very excited to see where SK go in the next week and eventually once we get to the championship.
And incredible stuff for SK. And they are looking like the hope that Europe needs. SaltyPotetoes, a good run. Let us not forget, they came from the Challenger Series from the last split. They've just made it to a finals week. Incredible stuff here in Europe, but from AJ and myself, Dalsey, it's us done. Let's throw it back over to the desk to break down that series.